A camera bag, the gear inside of it, and the way it is laid out is extremely important for content creators who are looking to mix in portability and functionality into their workflow. The bag that I am currently using for my everyday carry is the Luma camera bag, which is a collaboration between Peter McKinnon and Nomadic. This is an 18-liter camera bag, which is relatively small and slim, and that is really part of the reason why I am using this bag as of right now. I've recently been on this kick of trying to keep things more sleek and minimal, and that's what this bag allows me to do, because it really does not have a lot of extra storage options. It doesn't have a lot of different little nooks and crannies, kind of like small compartments that you would find in more traditional camera bags, which I think is a downside for a lot of people. But I did a full review on this bag. If you want to learn more about my real thoughts on it, you can check it up. It'll be linked up above and down below. I have also recently been using a bag from Wandered that is, I think, around like 21 liters. So it's got a little bit more storage, but that bag happens to be a roll top, which is great for adding additional storage if you need it. And it does have loads of those extra little pockets for little, trinkets and widgets or whatever you might need it for that you would expect from more traditional camera bags. So that is also a good option that I will definitely link down below. And while I'm talking about links, all the gear that I mentioned in this video will be linked down below in the video description. So if you want to check it out for yourself, it'll be down there. So let's go ahead and check out the inside of the camera bag, because that's really where the magic happens. What you see here is pretty much everything that I would use to make content for YouTube or for social, with the exception of the camera that I am currently shooting on, which is the Sony a7 IV that normally lives in this empty spot here, but we'll just use our imagination and imagine that a camera body would go there. My main goal for the inside of this bag is that it is very functional and that things can sometimes serve more than just one purpose. I think that that's best exemplified with my other camera here. So you'll notice that I've got a little bit of a bag situation inside the bag. I'll explain it in a second. But inside of here, I've got my main video camera, which is the Sony ZV-E1. This is by far my favorite camera for content creation because of its size, because of its video quality, and a lot of the features that are packed inside of this thing. It is just a ton of fun to use for content creation. I've done a full video about it. If you want to check it out, link up above and down below. One thing you'll notice about the body cap on this camera is that it's actually not a body cap at all. It in fact is a ridiculously tiny lens. This is the Viltrox 28mm f4.5 autofocus pancake lens, which is a budget lens from Viltrox. It's like $99 and it's a lot of fun and it's extremely compact. And I'm basically using it for my ZV-E1's body cap because this lens doesn't even have a body cap that comes with it. It just has this swinging door on the front of the camera that acts as a lens cover instead of using a traditional lens cap. So because this thing is so small, it literally is about the size of a body cap. So I just figure, why not keep it on the camera? And then that way, if I just need to shoot something in a hurry, instead of having to take off a body cap, take off the lens cap, put the lens on and get it all set, I've just got something always ready to go on my ZV-E1. And speaking of things being ready to go, I have this camera set inside of this little Wandered tech bag. So even though I pretty much bring my camera bag with me everywhere, I don't always want to bring my full bag with me. Maybe I'm just going on a walk with the family, or we're going somewhere together down to the farmer's market or whatever, and I don't want to bring my full camera bag. I will just take the little Wandered bag out of my camera bag, and I've already got my lens attached to it. And I'll just take this, I'll zip it up, and then I can just go ahead and strap it on myself, and basically ready to go with a nice little compact camera setup. So if I want to snap a few quick photos, I can do that with this camera. If I want to get some video, I can even throw on the little included, wind screen for the camera, and I can put that into the hot shoe of the camera, and that way I can have, nice protected audio from the wind. It's not maybe the greatest thing in the world, but it's certainly good in a pinch. I can literally just have this camera, this lens, this little windscreen, and I can even have a little bit of a miniature vlogging setup without even really having to bring anything but like the size of the camera body with me, which is super sick. And it's been a lot of fun to just bring this around, throw it in the bag, and just walk around with my family without having to think too much about a bigger mirrorless camera like my A7 IV, or bring around a larger lens. It just makes things so nice and functional. And then if I don't want to bring this, it just sits in the bag and it just lives there. So extra layer of protection, and if I want to, I can just bring it with me, and it's just, I don't know, I love it. Now, even though this little pancake lens is cool, it definitely has some limitations because it is stuck at f4.5. You can't go and raise the aperture, and obviously it does not go any lower than that. It is an autofocus lens, which is really cool, but my main lens that I use is the Sony 20mm f1.8 prime. And this lens lives in the bag, but whenever I want to do any sort of vlogging, or if I'm going to be doing, I don't know, a bit more professional video work, then I will definitely throw this onto the ZV-E1. This 20mm lens is basically what I use for all of my talking head videos, or if I am vlogging around. It just has a really nice look. It's extremely sharp, and it's 20mm, which is plenty wide enough, I think, for vlogging. And it just gives you that nice shallow depth of field at 1.8, which is great in various different situations, whether you want to make a small space look bigger, or if you want to try to get a bit more depth of field in your image, you can go really wide with that 20mm, and then you can have that nice 1.8 to give you that blurry background. Attached to the front of this lens is the Freewell variable ND and circular polarizer. This has been by far my favorite variable ND filter that I have personally used. This is the 3 to 7 stop version. The way that this works is that you put an attachment on the front of your lens. This is a 82mm filter thread, but I have a 67mm filter thread on my 20mm, so I'm using their converter, basically a step-up ring. So I take the larger filter, and it magnetizes to the attachment that you have on the front of the lens. From here, you can tighten down with these little screws to make sure that it stays in place, and then you can use the 3 to 7 stop ND, which looks really incredible. It doesn't do any of that weird X, sort of pattern or the vignetting that you would find in some less expensive ND filters. To use a polarizer, loosen those screws a little bit, and then you turn the physical filter, and then you will find the different effects that the polarizer will do whenever you're looking at your screen or EVF. So you just kind of find that sweet spot, and then you lock it in on the attachment there, and then you're basically good to go. Another feature that I love about this ND filter is that it is magnetic on the front and on the back. So I've got my nice little magnetic cover that I can just put on the front of the ND filter that keeps it nice and protected wherever I'm just storing it, or if I just want to keep it safe. But if you take that off, they also have different type of mist filters or whatever it is that you want to add to the front of the lens. So I've also got here, this is the snow mist filter, and literally it just attaches right to the front of the lens. So you've got your ND/polarizer, and then if you want to add a mist to it, all you have to do is just attach it on, and then whenever you're done, you can just take it off and put your cover back on, and you can store your camera, no problem. Having a really nice quality ND filter has totally transformed the way that I am shooting my videos. I'm definitely getting a lot more cinematic images because I'm able to make sure that my shutter speed stays double whatever my frame rate is. I used to primarily shoot a lot more slow motion videos because I could crank the shutter and it wasn't as noticeable whenever you had a high shutter, but having a really nice ND, especially at 3 to 7 stops, I can do a lot of video even at 1.8 on this 20mm lens, and I can keep my shutter speed for 24 frames at 1/50. I highly recommend this Freewell ND. It's totally changed the way that I have approached my video content. If you're in the market for a nice variable ND filter / circular polarizer, check this one out for sure. So I use this setup on the ZVE1 like, I don't know, 90% of the time. The other lens I carry with me in this bag is a 35mm f1.8 lens from Sony. This has been my tried and true 35mm lens. It's compact, the autofocus is fantastic, it's really sharp. It does have some fringing, some chromatic aberration, a little purplish type stuff when it's wide open at 1.8, but there's just something about it that I really love, and so it has a soft spot in my heart. And if I need something that's just a little bit tighter than 20mm, then I will bust out the 35mm for that. For my audio, I am using the Sony ECM B1M shotgun microphone. The really cool thing about this mic is that with newer Sony cameras, you can just put it into the hot shoe and it will just start receiving audio to the camera without having to use any cables. So whenever I am out and about and I want to vlog, or if I want to get some better audio, I just put the microphone on the camera. I've got my lens set up, and now I am ready to vlog, or I'm ready to capture my audio. One of my other favorite features about this microphone is that it has a auto gain setting, so I don't have to worry about setting my levels with my microphone. I will just let the microphone do it for me, and it just automatically talks to the camera without any wires, and it's just a nice simple setup, and the mic also sounds really, really nice. This is also the mic that I use for the majority of my YouTube videos, whether I'm out and about or whether I'm just shooting here at my house. So I really love it. It's super reliable. Another piece of gear that I love to use when I'm out and about shooting is this little vlog pod tripod situation from Ulanzi. This is the TT38 and does something really cool that I think warrants a demonstration. So let's say you're out and about vlogging, got a nice little quick release plate, you can lock it in, you can do your nice, arm's distance type shooting, gives you a little bit more depth there. And then if you want to set it down, all you do is you just flick this little button and these legs pop out. And then you can just set it down. You can talk to the camera. Hey, how we doing? We're vlogging. And you can just scoop it up, put the lights back in, and now you're good to go. Like, how amazing is that? This has totally replaced my Joby Gorilla Pods that I've purchased in the past, because those have gone south on me so many times, and it makes me feel like I am taking a chance every time I put my camera down with those things, because I just don't know if it's going to be top heavy and topple over, or if the little ball leg things are going to fall apart. This just gives so much stability and so much reassurance that it's going to be safe. And then if I need to adjust, I can just adjust the little ball head here on the Ulanzi vlog pod, and then I can just pick this thing up, scoop the legs, and then I'm off and ready to go. And there is also another cool function where down under the main heel, there is this additional little hook that comes out that you can use to basically hook onto different types of surfaces. So if you wanted to, you could hook it down and then you could basically like hang it. I've done this before on fences, on bridges, and then you can just lock it into place and the whole unit just kind of like hangs there, and then it becomes another little stable sort of natural tripod thing, which is just super cool. And then whenever you're done, you just scoop it up, you're ready to go. This thing is genius. I don't know why more people haven't thought about this. That's just so satisfying. Now back in the bag, I also have another sort of tripod situation, and it is this little mobile tripod from LuneCube. This came from a mobile creators kit that they had sent me out a while ago. The really cool thing about this is that you can just push down on the bottom and a tripod appears. You twist the little top of this guy and then it can extend out. And then if you want, you can turn it to the right and then the tripod can actually stand on its own, which is super cool. But it's not necessarily usable by itself, so you need a nice sturdy clamp. I ended up picking up one of these clamps from SmallRig. It's nice, it's metal, very sturdy. You can just put that onto the top of this, and then I've got a nice little mobile tripod set up for just shooting quick videos of myself or different areas where I don't want to be hand holding the phone. Now I want to talk about a couple of little bonus items in the bag that are not necessarily necessary, but they are really, really cool. And one of them has been life transforming for me. First one is this little camera from CampSnap. I've done a little video on this guy before. Basically what this is a digital camera that gives you the vibe of what would be a vintage disposable camera, but it's all internal. There is no screen to see what your image looks like. All you get is a little counter on the back of the camera. Originally this was made for kids, but sometimes it's just cool to bring it out, get a little bit of a different vibe, and kind of hits the nostalgia of some of those more vintage type cameras. And then I can hand it to my kid and, you know, let her run around with it and not be worried whether or not it's going to be destroyed, because it's plastic, it's relatively affordable, and it gives you that kind of aesthetic. Now the one piece of gear that has totally transformed my life may not be super cool on the surface, but it makes all the difference for me. And it is this battery bank / battery charger from Llano. What this is a battery bank, obviously, that you can use to charge your devices. It has 2 USB-C ports that could be used as ins or outs. So this is how you would feed juice to different devices, whether it be 1 or 2, but you also charge the unit through that USB-C slot. But not only does it charge USB-C, it also has a compartment for your Sony NP-F batteries. So that means I can put in 2 of my batteries in here to the unit, leave it here, and it will charge it while I'm on the go. And that has been immensely helpful, because far too many times have I gone to leave the house and I have not yet charged my camera batteries, or I don't have the little dual charging accessory, or I don't have the right USB for it, and it's just really annoying. But now I can just do USB-C, just like I do with my phone and many other devices, hook it up to this guy, and once this is charged, I can just feed my batteries in, charge it, let it go, put it in my bag, and I don't have to worry about a thing. I also love the little screen on the front because it shows me how much battery is in the unit itself, and shows me the charging status of either one or both of the batteries for my camera that I've put inside of the unit to charge. It's just by far one of my favorite pieces of gear that lives in my bag. As far as other odds and ends that live in my camera bag, it's pretty simple. Inside the larger pocket of this bag, I've got a couple of things. One being a high-speed USB-C cable with a right angle plug, which is great for charging devices, transferring data, or for hooking up to either of my cameras to use as a webcam in case I need to do a video call with somebody and I need to present well with high quality. I will use this and hook hook it up to one of my cameras, and I have the best looking webcam that you've ever seen in your life. I've also got a couple of SSDs from SanDisk. I love the Extreme Pros from them. I've got a 2 terabyte for work, and then I've got a 4 terabyte for more creative projects. Love those. And I've also got a dongle for my MacBook Pro. Now, I'll just say it, I am not rocking the newest, latest, greatest MacBook. I am still rocking my original M1 MacBook Pro. This was the very first one that they made with the M1 chip. This is a 13-inch. It's got 16 gigs of RAM and a 1 terabyte hard drive. So I did everything I could to get the best out of it. And this computer has served me super well. It still does really good, even with 4K footage and, you know, various layers and different effects on my timeline whenever I'm editing inside of Final Cut Pro. I have not yet found a reason to upgrade from it. However, with the new release of the M4 chips, it seems like performance is taking a significant jump from the M1 way up to the M4. So it might be time for me to finally upgrade this computer, but otherwise it has served me extremely well. And I think it's still a really solid option for people who are looking for something that is affordable, yet really powerful. So yeah, that's what's in my camera bag. Like I said, this for me kind of meets a nice medium between functionality and minimalism, just because everything in here gets used, and I don't really bring stuff with me that I'm not going to be using on a regular basis. Within the confines of this bag, I can make content for just about anything that I'm looking to do. The one exception to that being the tripod that I'm currently shooting with. This is a Freewell tripod. I don't remember the name, but I will put it on screen and I will put the link down below to it in the video description. This Freewell travel tripod has to be the best tripod I've ever used. And I don't say that lightly. This thing is incredible. It does everything you would want from a tripod, but it does it in a compact, lightweight setup. And so I can't finish out this video without first mentioning that. But yeah, the real main purpose of all this is to show you what I'm currently using to make content and to hopefully inspire or generate some new ideas for maybe how you want to change the layout of your current camera bag situation. I've always found it really useful to just see other people's setups, what they bring with them, what they use to create the content that they produce on the regular, because it just kind of helps to maybe shape a bit more of how I would want to take maybe not that particular product, but maybe take the idea and morph it into whatever I'm doing for my setup. So I hope that this video was hopefully helpful for you, maybe a little inspirational for you. And if you did get value out of this video, why don't you go ahead and add some value right back to it by hitting that like button. And while you're down there, you can hit that subscribe button, join the pack, and also leave a comment on maybe what your favorite piece of gear was from this video, or maybe what a new idea that you're going to adopt to your camera bag is. But that's all for me. And until the next time, my name is Zach Sopak, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.